Hey guys, today we have a truly exceptional guest on our show. Someone whose journey, right, from being a skinny and scrawny kid to becoming a World Fitness Federation pro athlete is nothing but inspirational. So meet Joash Choo. This guy has succeeded in both fitness world and business world. So, welcome Joash Choo.
Thanks a lot, Shaun. So I'm actually very honored to be actually given this chance to actually share my experience and also really just sharing what I know and what I've been going through this whole time since I first started, and really looking forward for really knowing or sharing about it as well.
Great. So I think what we can do is we can just jump into the straight into the questions, and then I think let's go from there, right? So first thing is, right, when I first saw you, right, about 5 or 6 years ago, right, the first thing that it came across, right, was you showing yourself very skinny, I think in high school or whatnot, right, being like I call it a skinny, scrawny kid, and then you showed, that time you were at the peak of your tournament, right, having like six-pack, and then you were in, I think, America or New Zealand competing or whatnot, right? So maybe let's start from there. Can you share a little bit about, can you share some story about how you got from being skinny all the way to competing in the world stage against professionals?
Growing up as someone who is, I was actually an athlete as well since young. I play sports as well. But I was built very, very skinny, especially during high school, where I get laughed at or even bullied a little bit and here and there. And it really affected my self-confidence as well as my self-esteem. So I think that adds up, adding on with like girl issue, like you are trying to attract girls and things like that, and then you need more confidence, and that's the point where I realized that I am in charge of my own life. So that's when I really start jumping into training, things like that. Slowly it builds up into a passion, and then when I reach 18 or 19, I actually start to make more moves, which is taking more actions, like competing. My first show was in Singapore, and then slowly get my way up to my international pro card as well. Yeah.
So how did that work? Like, okay, you one day woke up and it's like, hey, I don't want to get bullied. I don't want to be so skinny. I want to be more attractive, look better, and then you started going to the gym. Or what was the turning point? Was there anyone who like, hey Joash, come train with me, or hey, wake up? Like, was there any mentor at that time, or it was just purely self-awareness?
I think it was partly self-awareness as well as my brother was in it as well. He was training as well. So he brought me into the fitness world. So, but then I journeyed myself from then on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go into a little bit about on the pro scene. How do you first say, like, because most of us, right, like even myself and all of us here, right, we work out, right? Like the main thing I think for myself, I speak for myself, the main thing that I do is I want to look better, I want to feel better, and be more confident. But you took it another level. You're like, I don't just want to do that, I want to go and compete. So what like made you like, hey, I want to go and compete?
I think my background is I'm very competitive in my sports as well. So
what sport do you play?
I play football, badminton.
Okay.
So I tend to be quite competitive in what I do. So if I have been in bodybuilding, I try my best to give my very best for bodybuilding as well. So being obsessed is one of the key traits. I would say that when I put 100% to something, I have to, if I entered something, I have to give 100% no matter what. It's either I don't do it or I do it 100%. Yeah. So that was the mentality when I entered into fitness, and that was something that actually it's more than just a hobby or something I enjoy doing. I think it's more like it helps me. Yeah.
But do you think it's like a healthy obsession, or was it like more like you do it because you want to prove something?
I think there's two ways to see it. I think it is, I have to prove something, all right? There's something that draws me closer to the goal, and something is pushing away from what I don't want to be. Like, I think I have a fear of not being good enough. Yeah, so if I have that fear of being not good enough and I constantly want to be better, that's another factor that drives me into the person who I actually train to be. Yeah.
So how can you share a little bit about, like, basically have a small flex lah? Like, what was your, after you went Singapore first, so like what was the next step? Like, how does it work in terms of climbing up, in terms of the competition ladder in the fitness industry? Because I know you bodybuilding. People say about tournament. So how is it? Because I don't really have much info, but I know there's like Mr. Olympia, Mr. Malaysia, and there's like a lot of abbreviations like NABA, WFF, and all that, right? How does that actually work?
Okay, so bodybuilding, there is a few federation.
Okay.
So few of it is like WFF, like the one I competed in. IFBB is also I competed in it as well. MBBF is a local federation.
So it's Malaysia.
Yeah, Malaysia one. So each federation has their own journey. So for example, if you talk about IFBB, their top competition is called Mr. Olympia. So their top athletes will be competing in Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
So for WFF, the most prestige competition is probably Mr. Universe.
Okay.
Yeah. So people try their best to actually compete in Mr. Universe or World Championship, things like that. So what happens is there is a amateur level and also a pro level in most federation. So amateur level meaning that you have not won your show before, meaning you didn't win overall champion.
Okay.
So you have to win an overall champion in order for you to be a pro card holder. So once you are in a pro league already, you have to compete with all the guys who are in the pro league to win the show. Yeah. So most of the pro show that you see online, there is two categories or two main categories, which is the amateur and also the pro.
Okay. So you competed in the amateur first, right? Because it was your first time.
Yeah. So I got my pro when I was in New Zealand when I won my overall category.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I got my pro.
So what happens after getting pro? Like you are no longer amateur, you compete on the pro level.
Yeah.
So it's basically one level above.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was the competition in terms of like competing against all the pros? What's the difference between pro and amateur?
I'd say that pros definitely has a lot more experience. They are very, very competitive because they are all obsessed as well. It's not like it's just like amateur is more easy because everyone is quite fresh. All right. So when you are in a pro league, everyone expect you to perform very well, and the expectation is not from yourself only, but also on others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on, right, is there any like things that people see like wow they look so good and all that, but behind, right, there's a little bit like maybe a bit grey, but people don't really talk about it, like probably in terms of like taking additional supplements or like steroids or things like that, because this is something very taboo in normal people's eyes, but is it very normal in terms of like professionals, athletes?
I say this is very individual choice, but I say that bodybuilding, there's a lot of PED, which is performance enhancing drugs, involved, and I mean it's an obsession. Okay, let's put bodybuilding as
An obsession.
an obsession.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone who wants to win is obsessed.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you manifest something so great, right, you will put in how much work you put in.
You do whatever it takes to just get the goal, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So that is something that is super competitive. Like drugs is definitely a gray area. I say that a lot of competitors that I know are on drugs or is on drugs as well. So it's not something new, but it's something that you have to accept that it's there. And it will stay for some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, it's something that what mass market should just accept as is normal. Like people are actually consuming it to compete, and if you have that obsession, that you will actually eventually probably take some of this PDE.
Yeah. If you are looking to be a natural athlete, then go ahead and compete in a natural competition. But if you are planning to go Mr. Olympia, or if you are planning to take on stuff, you want to be on stuff, then probably don't compete in natural shows. I think being honest about things is
very important.
It's very important.
Of course.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so let's go into the next question. So let's say, I think a majority of people, right, ever since the post-pandemic, right, because we stayed at home for almost 2 years, right, they are starting to come out. And now they said, yo, I don't look good. And I think it's never before like this, but everyone is more people are taking their health very seriously. What advice, right, would you give to someone who want to make a lasting change in their health and also fitness? Like, how would you recommend someone to take their first step and be consistent?
Know your why first. Understand why you're doing it for. I normally say that if you don't know why you're doing this for, you got to ask yourself who you want to be. And most people want to be better. All right, they don't know where they want to head to, but they want to be better. So I normally would say, do you realize that entrepreneurs or successful people, one of the biggest tip that they have is you gotta be exercising or having fitness in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the reason a lot of people don't really see. They think fitness is going to help you in terms of your physique, and that's about it. But it's way more than that. It's going to build you a lot of character, and building character is what builds your identity. And when you build that identity of yours, it just overflow in terms, like, for example, if you're going to be disciplined in your training, you will be disciplined in other areas. Yes, your quality of life will improve once you invest into fitness.
Yeah.
And
I think that is exactly what I felt. So basically, I was also a student of Joash last year to early this year. I trained for almost 4 years. I stopped training, and then after that, I eventually say like, okay lah, I go and take this investment and join your PT training class. And I'm like, wow, at that point, right, to me lah, I was like, wait, why? Like, you see, example, average monthly gym pass, right, will cost about 150 ringgit to 300 ringgit max. Okay, depending on what kind of gym. But per session to train with, like, you was already what you pay in 1 month. But then I was like, But then let me give it a try, because probably that would really, what I gained from that was basically like what you just said. The character building, the traits that come along, and of course the consistency after that. Although after that I finished the entire training session with you, I developed that habit which would probably last with me for the next, probably the lifetime, if I continue to go to the gym. So every single day, right, like, okay, I want to go to the gym, and if I don't go to the gym, right, I'll feel guilty, like, oh, today I missed out, I need to actually like replace. So I think it's very important. I think what most people are lacking, right, is that character or that habit of working out and taking fitness very important. Do you think so?
I think a lot of people, right, have not experienced how good quality of life can impact other aspect of his life. Yeah. When you start going gym, I think the first thing you realize is that, oh, this is something that is hard, right?
Yeah.
Initial stage, you might find it really hard, like, oh, why am I dragging myself to suffer for 1 hour, 2 hours? But then you realize after a few days that you make this decision and you go through with it. Meaning you make a promise to yourself and you deliver. Yeah. I think that's the confidence you're gonna have, and also the quality of life you're achieving, because you take your life more seriously. You want better for yourself. That decision itself is gonna be helping you with so many other decisions in your life.
Yeah. It's just like business lah, because like you see, if you cannot commit yourself to gym or working out consistently, right, and then you expect yourself to be a very successful businessman, right, it's actually very hard. Because you can't even commit to gym, and then most of the time, right, you will do some business or you do some work, right, and you do 6:30. You just do maybe 50% of it, and then you like, once it gets hard, you just like, okay lah, I think I'm just going to quit. But because you already have that character built during like the process of working out, starting another business, right, you can just carry on personality traits.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think it's very important for everyone to like build that lah. Probably not just working out, maybe even just keep exercising, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about business lah, okay? Since I think most of our viewers here and all that are also aspiring entrepreneurs, and they love to talk about business. And since both of us will run business, and you have a successful business, and actually no small feat, you're not one, not two, you have actually 3 successful gym outlet stores which survived during the entire pandemic period. So what were some like challenges that you faced growing a gym business, and how did you actually overcome them? Probably this is something that I will say is very valuable that people can actually take away. Like what was like the biggest challenge or turning point? Because I feel like from the entire stories you told me, I roughly know what challenge you actually went through. But maybe probably you can actually share more in that.
So I think one of the biggest challenge was really MCO definitely hit us hard, since I don't think gym is able to open more than 1 year.
Yeah. How do you actually even survive though? Because like during those time, everyone just went out of business. You know, like clubs, like Zoe, I saw they closed, and then so many restaurants closed. But gyms is something that people have to go to, and you have to still pay rent.
Yeah, that's the tough part. But I believe online coaching do help a little bit. I was doing a little bit of online coaching there, but I think one of the biggest lesson is that, or more like the struggle that I go through, is that the inexperience I had when I start this business, if I didn't grow as an individual, I will never ever build my brand into tree branch or whatsoever. So the fact that it took me 4 years to actually struggle, 4 years, okay, is because I don't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
So the fact that after 4 years only, I start building more of my character, building more of my my knowledge, my skill. Then I realized that all this while I have been very, I would say, I was very conservative, and I was not. I'm afraid to take a step or taking actions. I think the action part is what's
holding you back.
Yeah, the fear is what's holding me back, but the action is the things that will get you forward. So whether the action is gonna bring in a positive or negative impact your life, most importantly, you're gonna learn something out of it, right? There's no action that is go to waste. There's always a lesson behind it.
So what would be the biggest like downfall like that you had to learn to become like who you are today from like your entire business of running Real Fitness?
I think I was really sick and tired of running and not doing well. And I think being a business owner, right, at one point you realize that if you're going to run a business just for the sake of surviving, right, what's the point of running?
So basically, all the while you were on the other end of the surviving, but you were not on the other spectrum of thriving. So you woke up one day and like, okay, enough. A few years has gone by. I don't want to just survive and what I want to really thrive and grow. And then so once you had that switch in your mind, right, what changes did you make to super grow your business? Because I clearly know that there was a time you were only in Puchong for multiple years, and when you first opened, me and my other friends, a group of friends, were one of the first who actually went there. We actually switched gyms to Real Fitness. We went there every like alternate days, and then we were there for a couple of years. Only one period of time, right, when you super growth, you opened. You renovated Puchong, you opened another branch in Bandar Puteri, and then you went to Sri Petaling, and then you told me more about expansion plans, and now you're doing like even more deals. So what was that switch? Because the growth was quite substantial in such a short period of time.
I think I do agree that it's a really short period of time, but I think the reason why I'm able to do that is because I think a whole year I took to really build up a skill, especially like management skill, leadership skill, marketing skill, things like that. So everything is actually every habit you build is what you do constantly on a daily basis. So the person you're gonna become, the identity who you are, is gonna be built up through your habits. And that's when I think the point where I realized that I want to be better. That's when I start building up more habits. I start building up more courage to take action. Start taking more action in terms of building the team. Instead of me doing the work, why not I start growing something? Instead of being a consumer, why not I be a producer?
Understand.
Yeah.
So in short, what you did was you first worked on yourself. You equip yourself with a lot of soft skills like management, marketing, operation. You really became an entrepreneur, and then you move away from just working within the business, but you work on the business, growing teams, and really like spearheading a business to become what a business should be, lah.
Yeah.
Great. That's very inspirational. So this is more like success story. So you have actually trained like on your website and on your social media, right? You said you have already trained you yourself trained over hundreds of people to achieve their fitness goal. So can you probably highlight like one particular memorable success story, and what did that transformation teach you?
I think one of my client, he came to me when he was quite overweight.
Okay.
All right. If not mistaken, it was like 100 or more than 100. So what really made me want to help him was really his story. So he was saying that he has a lot of health issue like obesity, diabetic, things like that. And overall his quality of life sucks. So his quality of life sucks. He don't enjoy how he feel every day. He don't feel like he is appreciating life, which I believe how you feel, it really is so important to somebody, especially if you are working. If you are a working adult, you have kids, you have a family, I think it's so important.
Yeah.
So he was coming to me sharing that that was one of his really downtime. So that was his
lowest point.
Yeah, his lowest point, where he wants to make a change of his life. So he also said that if he don't do anything about it, he probably can't see another 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
And he can't spend time with his kids. His kids is quite young. If not mistaken, it's less than 10. It's like 5 or 7 years old.
So basically, he's also a young father.
Yeah, he's a young father. He's 30 plus, isn't he? So it was really at that point that I realized that, okay, it's not only I want to help him. It's like I want him to realize that life is more than just that. Life is more than just going through the day feeling like shit. I want him to enjoy life to a point that he wake up every day and feel confident and feel like life is good.
Yeah.
Because life is good,
Yeah.
right? So what I did was I helped him lose over 20 kg in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot.
And the best part is I think every day, every time he meet me, he'll say that
You changed his life.
yeah, kind of like I changed his life, and it makes me feel like, okay, we are always talking about as an entrepreneur, right? We are talking about money and everything, right?
Yeah.
But these are the feelings that you can never get,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, these are the fulfillments. This is what fulfills me. Like the purpose of helping somebody's quality of life, knowing that his other aspect of life is improving because he commit into something I provide. And I think that's
Actually, you're right. Like that feeling, right, when you actually serve a customer of yours, right, and then you change their life, and then they tell you, like, Joash, like you without like what you did to me, right, really is life changing. I think that feeling itself, right, is not you cannot replace it with anything. Like really, honestly, no extra money. If I give you like 10,000, 100,000 or so, right, or even close to 1 million, right, that feeling, right, is very different from having to impact someone's life so positively. Because for the rest of their life, right, it's really changed, and because of the service that you provided to them. Yeah. I think that's I think tying it with business, right, I think that's very important. Like what you just mentioned, which is true. A lot of people, right, when I talk to them, aspiring entrepreneurs or people who are already in business, they're always talking about numbers, margins, ROAS, cost of acquisition, acquisition channels, money. Because I run a performance marketing agency and I also run my chair brand Altaseed, right. But at the end of the day, right, I ask them one thing: how does your product or service helps the other person? How does me buying your thing change my life? If you cannot tell me, right, how you're going to change my life, right, why would anyone give you a lot of money? That's why I also say that until today, right, whenever I do any content or talk to people, one point last year I was at my lowest point in my life, right? I told you before.
Yeah.
And then one of the biggest change, right, was actually signing up with you and training, working out with you and your team, right? Me, my brother, my mom, we all was like this. You know what we do every single day? We just work, we go back, we play games, we watch Netflix, we just lie, we eat, we go to cafes. It's like, but now it's become a habit, right, that my entire family, right, works out 5 to 6 times a week. We do different segments, right, push, pull, leg, and reset. And really, all our lives change so much. We become so much stronger, so much more positive, so much more motivated. Like, for me, in terms of business, I'm very clear with what I want to do. My brother, he does trading. He trades very well. He has full clarity in his mind. So is my mom. My mom is really like, 50 plus? And she can really like now walk around, lift pails, mop floor. She's a housewife without feeling very pain. Yeah, so I think it's very important, to like, very meaningful, right? Like whatever trainers do to their clients.
That's correct. I remember I heard Tony Robbins saying that your quality of life depends on your emotion.
Oh yeah, you went to Tony Robbins with Eddie last month, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was it? Like, what was like a takeaway like from that event like that? Because I think it's also not a very cheap event, and you had to fly all the way to Australia, right? So what do you learn from?
So I think I want to thank Eddie first for actually providing me the ticket.
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest takeaway there, right, was really understanding that life is more than just life is good. Okay, I think in summary, life is good.
Life should be lived to enjoy. Like you shouldn't like life should be lived, not full of suffering, right?
I think a lot of time because you let your mind take control over you.
Okay.
Everything like your expectation, your fear, everything is in the mind.
Yeah.
But you don't live in the present.
Yeah.
But I mean, as an entrepreneur, you always got a plan, right?
Yeah.
And the planning also comes with expectation and so on.
Yeah.
So I think there should be a fine balance between the two, using your heart and using your mind. Yeah. So what he talked about a lot was limiting belief as well. So I think a lot of things that we believe in the past is a limiting belief that stop you from growing or stop you from achieving
Bigger success.
bigger success. Like for example, not necessarily success in career or business.
Yeah.
It can be relationship, it can be friendship, it can be anything at all. Like for example, I think one of the limiting belief was a lot. I'm not sure how many entrepreneurs feel that way, but one of the limiting belief is like if you are not driven or if you are not able to share your emotion,
Okay.
or more like stoicism. If you are stoicism,
Okay.
you'll be doing well.
If you are stoic, you will do well.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like every man gotta be stoic,
Okay.
right? To strive.
Yeah.
So it can be a limiting belief. It can be a way of life as well, if you think about it. So limiting belief because people who believe stoic too much or believe it too much tends to not want to show emotion.
Yeah. So basically, stoicism is, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So stoicism is basically one person who does not get affected by a lot of external factors. Is that right?
Yeah.
And you're basically just very zen and
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah. But I believe stoicism is made to be good, right? It's made to be good, but I think people
Demonize it.
demonize it. I mean they do it wrongly. I think a lot of people say don't share your feelings or don't talk about your feelings and things like that. I think it's more like stoicism. You know your feelings, but you choose not to react to those feelings. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's like a bad thing? Because like sometimes you suppress. So let's say I'm very angry, but I choose not to lash my anger. I just hold it in. Then eventually I hold, then I just explode.
I think, in my opinion, I feel it's okay to show emotion,
Yeah.
but you have to understand your emotion
Yeah.
so that you can react better the next time.
So basically, have self-awareness lah.
Yeah.
That's the main point lah.
Yeah.
So basically, that's one of the main point that you actually got
Yeah.
out from the event. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like we are like halfway through. So the fifth question would be more of competition in the fitness industry. So like in the fitness industry, right, it's very competitive, man. Because like you see nowadays, I see gyms pop up very often. Everybody want to start a gym, want to start they want to buy a franchise and open gyms, right? So what are certain strategies, right, for you and your business, right, to implement for you to constantly stay ahead in terms of like in the fitness industry? How do you stay competitive?
I believe that in this service line, especially personal training, it is a necessity, right? Everyone actually needs health.
Yeah.
Everyone's should value health, and that's why the service is growing. So for my team, I've always believed that if you are able to be providing your customer, this is the expectation. You just need to hit over the expectation every single time and provide a dream outcome that is really what a customer wants. You are already doing more than enough.
Yeah.
But a lot of personal trainers out there couldn't hit the bare minimum. And I think it comes down with how bad. Why do you come to this industry? I think a lot of trainers come to this industry maybe just to earn money, things like that. But
So what's the correct mindset?
I think the purpose you have
Yeah.
is supposed to be, I want to help you grow. I want to help you become better. I want to see the result. I mean, if you ask me what's the best kind of personal trainer, the best kind of personal trainer is the one that care for you and give a shit about you. Yeah.
So basically, as a personal trainer, it's more important for me as a trainer to care more about the client's success, and then secondary only would be the monetary that comes with it after that.
Yeah.
So the money is the byproduct.
Yeah.
So your belief is that if I care and I give a shit more about my customers, even more than any other trainers out there, and really genuinely care, I will be fed well.
Yeah. Because if you ask me, if you can't solve a customer's problem, no matter how much you are earning, do you think he'll come back? Or how much you are charging, right? Do you think he'll come back? If you can't solve his problem, he won't.
So another thing will be the retention lah. What you
Yeah.
do. So like after that they retention and also word of mouth lah.
Yeah.
Like the customers won't really recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I myself, like after I train with you, right? I'm not going to mention any names or what, but like I gym hop a lot, so I just try out every other gym because it's fun to just see how every other gym. Then I really noticed, I look at certain gyms, right, and it spiked to me that like me, my mom, and my brother, you go like a family trip. People are like, wow, you go have family picnic, and we go and work out. Then we will just like see, like the trainers, they are so hard sell, and they really, when they train, you can really feel that their heart is not there. They're just training to pass time. And they're always looking at their clock. And the moment 45 minutes to 1 hour is over, even though you haven't finished your workout, right? They said, okay, we continue next week. And you just leave. And then I feel, if I was a customer, I would feel like, what the heck? Like, huh? You really just want to get it over with so that you can get your like commission or whatnot.
Yeah, there are a lot of trainers' mindset is that 1 hour, how much do I earn? That's all. And not so much, your journey, how can I get you closer to your goal? How can I get you better? How can you improve week after week?
Yeah.
That should be the question you should ask yourself as a trainer.
So let's understand, so basically trainers, what they earn is they earn based on an hourly rate, right?
Yeah.
So probably what I would like if I was a trainer, what I would do is I would do my really, really best. I will give so much value to my customer, and then from let's say 100 ringgit per hour, and I will eventually climb up to becoming like what 500 ringgit an hour, and then that is how I increase my lifetime value per customer, my sales, my profit, and over time I don't really need that many customers because I have a loyal fan base of customer base.
Yeah.
But that is not what most people are doing, right? Most people are just playing volume.
Yeah.
But why do you think they're just doing that? Why are they just churning customers like a bread machine?
Because I believe that most trainers, they have a difficulty in keeping customer. So they have to constantly think about a new customer. Maybe halfway, for example, if you are a client, and if I'm training you, halfway I might feel like, oh, this guy is not getting result. Chances is you won't sign with me again. So I'm supposed to find a new client already. Yeah.
So what I would say is they are playing more on a defensive and fear and also like scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
They're not playing with offense. They're not going on offense.
Yeah.
I see.
If you are confident about your own value that you're able to provide, you won't be afraid whether you have no client.
Yeah, true.
You won't be afraid if next month there's no client that is going to find you, because the value you're going to provide, you're going to attract the right people.
Yeah.
Unless you are not providing value.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so basically I just want to share a short 10-second ad. So basically this entire show, we sponsored by Altoseed. So basically there's 2 chairs here. It's actually one of my brand. We sell chairs, really good quality chairs. If you guys are looking for any like good quality chairs that will protect your back, and you don't necessarily need to go to see the doctor very often or whatnot, if you have sclerosis and you want to have good sitting posture, do check us out. Okay, so next question would be more on like leadership and motivation and organization, because managing a team, right, of any sort is not easy. And you manage a team of like 15 to 20 trainers, and your entire company is like 30 to 40 employees. So what aspect, right, of leadership have you found most effective in managing your entire team? Maybe you can share like a few points on how do you keep your trainers motivated, how do you keep your retention very high? Because one thing I see a lot is trainers come and go.
Yeah, that's true. The fitness industry, trainers come and go very often. The turnover rate is crazy one, if you talk about commercial gyms and so on. So I think one of the biggest reason you are able to retain your people or your staff or your trainers, right, it's the same way how you retain your clients. It's very much the same. So clients come for physical goals, physical growth or even mental growth, things like that. So you have to understand your trainers, why are they here for? Are they trying to grow their career? Are they trying to grow their income? So go from that sense, and you are there as a platform to help them grow in that aspect. So I think giving them the chance to grow and Real Fitness as a platform is one of the biggest reason why most trainer would stay with me. Yeah.
Because I really believe that any service industry, right, whether I like my marketing agency or your personal trainer and gym company, right, it's all, we are in the business of people.
Yeah.
So like the most important thing, right, is people. Like honestly, right, if today I clean out my entire company, no people, I'm alone, and same goes to you. We end of the day we become solopreneur, and now we are like basically a freelancer. So what you say, the most important thing is basically understand what every single employee or every single trainers, what are their motivations.
Yeah.
And then groom them from there.
Yeah.
So if there's like 15 and 20 different motivations, you need to understand.
So initially I was working very close with my team,
Okay.
right? I was working with, it was a smaller team, so I'm able to work with them personally, like help them grow personally. But then slowly when the team got bigger, each branch has more trainers, then I can't get really personal with every single one of them.
Yes.
So what I normally do is I groom trainers, seniors up.
Okay.
So I groom my leaders up. So once my leaders understand their role, they are going to do the same thing. So most of the time, right, as entrepreneurs, I think you don't understand how important is it for an entrepreneur to have the right state of mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you are coming with the right intention, you come into the company with the right intention, it's going to overflow down. Meaning your leaders is going to act very much like you. Your juniors going to act very much like you. So that's what I realized. Because I would say that like few years back, I was quite stressed up. I was quite tense about everything, and it shows with my other employee or trainers as well. So slowly I realized that if I don't grow as a person, it will be affected. They will get affected as well.
I think because like as a leader, right, or as the head of the company, right, what core values and beliefs you set, right, flows down and trickles down, has a trickling down effect to your entire team.
Yeah.
So if you are a very negative, very rigid, very like aggressive leader, then everyone else there will feel fearful, and they also may not do their work to their very best. But if you treat everyone with like kindness, candor, and you really want to understand them, then they will feel more love. And with that being said, most of the time they will do their work better. At the same time, feel more warm and at home.
Yeah, I believe there's two different school of thought. Like some will say that fear can move people more than love.
Yeah.
So I believe
which one
both
is you?
work. I believe both work. Yeah, I believe both work. It really depends. But if you ask me, I've tried both. But I think love makes you feel different. Yeah. If your team is wanting to work for you and not scared to work for you, they act very different with you. Yeah.
So how long would, like in your experience, right, how long would an average trainer like stay with you? Like, what's the retention rate? What's the average retention rate of gyms? Because I'm just very curious.
If you ask me, most commercial gyms, less than 6 months.
Then they will just jump or they just start their own business.
Yeah.
I see.
But I say that for my case, it's at least 1 year plus to 2 years. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so how would you like look? Okay, let's talk about more on like the business side of things, right? In terms of gyms, right, and fitness, how do you see it as like a business model? Because right, you see, especially during our time, right, like this time, there's so many business model coming out. There's this AI, there's social media marketing, there's back a few years ago, there's drop shipping, then now there's e-commerce coming back again, and then like wow, there's a lot of other things, and there's like online coaching, which is another thing. So and then there's courses. Like what made all along, right? I feel like you're very focused. You just focus on one path of just growing your fitness empire. So what made you choose like this business instead of like anything else, or diversifying into doing other businesses?
I believe that purpose is very important. So why you start something should be very strong. Your why should be very strong. So if I'm going to start a personal training studio, if my why is strong enough, I can go through anyhow. Yeah. So if I'm going to do 10 things and all 10 things don't serve my purpose, then there's no really much point of doing so. So if something that I don't enjoy doing, I just do it for the sake of doing, just to add to my portfolio, I don't find it a point to do it.
Yeah. I see many gyms coming up, like multiple commercial gyms popping up everywhere almost every day, right?
Yeah.
How's the business model behind it? Do you think it's a very profitable business model? Like, let's say right now I have $1 million ringgit lah. I just want to go and buy one commercial franchise, or probably even talk to you and say, hey, I want to just spend money and buy a franchise and open a gym. Would you recommend that to like an investor or an entrepreneur who wants to do something like that? Is it a very profitable? I think for me, the main reason why I do business, right, in terms of numbers, yes, serving with a purpose is important, but the profitability and numbers have to be also tally. How would you see in terms of like the profitability side of owning a gym or a fitness studio?
If you're talking about franchise, I say that if you're talking something like Anytime Fitness, where it's a franchise, right? I believe that if you have the money, you definitely can go ahead with it. But if you are somebody who start from scratch, you probably want to start off with your own center.
So like your own boutique gym?
Yeah. Because I believe that, you can get their brand, but it is their vision. If you are somebody who's starting out and you have your own vision, whether you want to change the industry, whether you want to build into a really, really large empire or whatsoever, start off with your own idea and build from there. You realize that the journey is more interesting when you build something from scratch.
So how do you actually like come about starting your first gym? So like, do you have investors? Do you have partners? Like, how do you first open your first gym? Because like, I recall that we were both very young when you first opened the gym, and it actually became quite popular. Like, Joash, like this young guy, he opened a gym here. Like, how old were you when you first opened that gym?
I opened a gym when I was 20. That was right after I dropped out from college, when my dad told me that I was doing freelance already. Freelance coaching already. But then I dropped out because I realized that I'm not giving 100% for what I'm doing. Meaning, if I'm going to go college and I don't give 100%, what's the point?
Yeah, it's like half.
I'm just going just for a cert.
Yeah.
And there's no point to it.
Yeah.
Right? So I dropped out, and actually my dad was very supportive about me setting up a gym, and he would like to help as well.
Okay.
So that's when I said, okay, let's partner up and just set up this gym.
Okay.
So he was the first person who actually believed in what I do, believed in me and everything, and supported me throughout. So very thankful that I have family that is very
supportive.
Yeah, that's very important. Then after I set up, then I realized not easy as well.
What was the first? People like numbers. What was the first initial capital investment you had to invest for, like, to start gym? Because it's not cheap. I mean, you had like what, 1, 2, almost 3 floors of gym, of equipment and all that.
Yeah.
Was it very costly amount for you at that time?
Yeah, it was quite costly. I would say that over 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over 500,000 just to set up that gym.
Yeah.
And then how long did it like take before you really like? What was the challenges that you faced? Like, hey. Was it straight away when you run, you were like making profits every month, or how do you go about that?
Me and my dad is not from a business background.
Okay.
All right. So we don't have a clear understanding of how we are supposed to run a gym. Yeah. So I think we were meant to be at that position.
Okay.
Because the reason why I say that is because if I'm not in that position, I will never learn. So once I'm in that position, I realized that there's so much things I have to learn.
Yes.
So that's when I say the 4 years was really tough. We weren't making profit. We were doing just the bare minimum and expecting things to go better and things like that.
Yeah.
But we don't really take an initiative and grow ourselves as a person, learning new skill, becoming better, building the team. These are things that I believe if you give me a chance, I will do it earlier. Yeah.
So if you can turn back the clock, go back, what you do is you will improve on yourself even earlier than what you did.
Yeah.
Because once you improve on yourself, that is where you can actually trickle down at all those things that you learn into your business and really hyper growth your business to where it is today.
Yeah.
Very interesting point.
Yeah. But I believe the 4 years was meant to be as well.
Yeah. So that's great. I think when you say that, right, it's very similar to what I believe, that I also live life with very very little to almost no regrets, because whatever happened, right, happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Because if we said I want it to be earlier, right, then means like we are actually not living life to the fullest. We are not learning a lot of things.
Yeah.
Because you started with fitness, you struggle along the way, right? That is where you learn things and you become who you are today.
Yeah, definitely. I think we all try to plan life a lot.
Yeah.
You try to plan life, you try to regret life.
Yeah.
I think everything is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
If something happened bad tomorrow, it's meant to happen.
Yeah.
That's if you can't accept it, then you are not living in the present already.
True.
Yeah.
Like I think this is a story on my end. So like last month, it was a very tough month for me. Like me and my partner in outer sleep, we barely could sleep. So basically, like we would, I think I haven't told you this story yet. Like we couldn't sleep and we like cannot eat, very stressed, because that was one of the toughest month. Like all my clients in my agency, so I have two business, right? My agencies were all suffering because I think it was a really low month. I would say entire spending of people population dropped by almost like 30 to 40%. And we expanded so aggressively. We opened 3 stores in 1 year. And one of our store had such high overheads that we couldn't cover anymore. And it was making not loss, but almost like breaking even for like 5 to 6 months.
Wow.
And that's where we decided to like, hey, I'm going to like close this down. Yeah, can you? Yeah, so we decided to like, hey, maybe it's best that we just like call it off and like just move on with this. Basically what we did was we have a branch here in Puchong. It was a really huge 10,000 square feet outlet, and we decided to like, okay, we just call it off, we close it, and then we move on. And it was really tough for us because we lost like a couple 100,000 ringgit. We did renovation, we did a lot of fixtures, we did tons of stuff to it, and we did a very grand opening. I mean, even you were there, right? And all of our friends were all there. And we were so happy, like, oh, that's our HQ. And when we closed, right, we really, me and my partner sit down, like, okay, so what do you learn? I think end of the day, I told him, I really learned one thing, is really, I don't regret opening this, because if we didn't open, we would never know. Because we thought that Puchong was where we stay, it's our hub. I'm really good at doing marketing. I know I can bring people, but if the market doesn't react to your products and the location is not up to par, right? No matter how much marketing you do, how much innovation you do, whatever kind of campaign you do, right, you still cannot be profitable. And so this is something I learned, like location very important, and so market timing. But if I were to open this maybe 3 years down the line, we never know when market is booming, right? It will be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I we just had a very tough month. We suck it up and then we just move on. So yeah, I think I really honestly like live life with no regret. Life is like a very interesting learning curve.
Yeah.
Every single event, bad or good, teaches you something and makes you become a better person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about like online coaching. So maybe nowadays, right, I see why I want to ask you this, because you're in the fitness space. Always I scroll on social media, like either TikTok or IG Reels or YouTube Shorts. I always see online coaches. And like when I watch them, right, the first thing I get the notion, right, is that, hey, these kind of online coaches, right, do they like the feeling I get is that they just want to close you and then send you a plan and go work out on your own. And then they're like, oh yeah, I have like, this is how you make 100,000 ringgit a month doing online coaching. And yeah, just this, do these 3 steps, and then you're done. And it doesn't really feel that they really care about the customer. What they care more is like putting money in their pocket. That's my take lah. But I want to know like what do you think about this online coaching?
I think it really varies to individual coaches lah. So I know coaches that are very, very personalized in terms of their online coaching, where they chat with you and then they keep update check-ins every week and so on. So I think coaches like that uses their heart because they want you to achieve their goal, achieve the goal. But if you are somebody who just half-ass sending a plan and just let the client go do whatever he wants and don't care about it, then that's a problem there. So there is a lot of trainers around. Like for example, personal trainer. Not all personal trainers are good.
Yeah.
So there are trainers that charge really low and don't give a shit about you. There are trainers that charge high but they really want you to achieve. So it really depends on individual. There are good ones, there are not so good ones. But is it worth it? It really depends whether they deliver the result that you want or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, as an individual, if you are signing up for online coaching, we really need to be able to like filter out between the ones that really care for you and the ones that just do it for a business lah.
Yeah. So I think you can actually choose your online coach based on a lot of things, like who is he as a person? Does he have a fitness business? Does he have he had many clients? How's the client's result? Actually, there's a lot of pointers to it as well. A good trainer, their communication skills should be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the first time when you do a call, right, all he talk about is just the money, then that's a red flag already.
So basically, you need to vet them out. Like as an individual, you need to vet the trainer out in terms of like communication, intention, and also like his credentials.
Yeah. So ask questions about the trainer. Ask questions to the trainer. Know him better. Understand who he is.
Yeah.
Not just anyone who just look good and then you want him to be your coach. Because you go to the gym, there's 10 guys who look good. Doesn't mean 10 guys gonna train you well.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. I think that debunk what like my thoughts on like online coaching. Really like need to do a bit of research. Okay, so so this is basically to a lot of the viewers out there. A lot of people, right, are always asking me like, hey Shaun, like when I go for a keynote or even just outside, or people like, Shaun, I'm looking to start a business, or I'm already in my venture, or I'm an aspiring entrepreneur who wants to do better. What advice, right, will you give to these kind of people? If like it could be a general one, or it could be a very niche and specific advice.
I say that you have to know your why again. Why do you want to start it? Why do you want to start this business? Is it because of money? Or is it because of your purpose? So what's your purpose? So the more you understand that, the more your answer is clear. And you don't really need to actually consider whether you want to open a business or not, if your purpose is very clear.
Yeah.
Like for example, if I'm going to set up a personal training studio, I know that I ultimately want to help people, right? If I'm planning to grow my business and grow my team, it's because I want to impact more life. So I'm going to do everything it takes for me to get to that stage. So knowing your why is the first thing. So whatever comes to your thought, it will come into action.
Yeah.
And once that happens, everything's going to be aligned with what you want already.
True.
Yeah.
I think that's very powerful. I think definitely knowing your why. I would say I recommend everyone to go and read the book by Simon Sinek, Know Your Why. I think having purpose and clarity in what you want to do is very important, because if you just are just floating day by day, not knowing what's your reason of doing something, right? Don't have any passion, right? Basically, you're actually not even living life, because you're doing things half-heartedly, dragging on.
Yeah.
Like for yourself, you really know your purpose. Your purpose is to really help and change people's life through fitness and coaching. Yeah, so I think whatever business you start, regardless it's a service, it's a SaaS, or even it's a product, right? You have to ask yourself, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So what if those people are doing it for money? So they have to do something related, like something just for money lah. But it doesn't. The fulfillment that it gives you is different lah.
I'm okay with it. Okay, let's put it this way: your purpose can be money. Okay, your purpose can be money, but really keep you fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because it's an end goal. Money is always an end goal.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't talk
money
about
is a byproduct. To me, money is like example, I do good. Like example, you do good work, you get paid more highly. You give good quality of product. Like Apple creates amazing products, so you get paid higher.
Yeah.
It's not like they focus on the money itself.
That's correct. Because I was talking to quite a successful client today morning, and then he was saying, I forget the exact amount. He said, let's earn 2 million or 4 million.
Through whatever collaboration that you're doing?
No. Through his own business or his own trading, things like that lah. So I was like, are you looking forward for that 4 million or that 2 million or that point? Then he say, not really. The money don't really mean much.
It's the process.
It's the process. It's the process of getting it. It's what's gonna make it so enjoyable. Yeah. So it's not really about the end goal. You gotta find the part where you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
And then the money is gonna come.
That's true. Yeah, I think that's a very good and interesting thought.
Yeah.
You know, like when I also work on my main my businesses, right? I think one of the most fulfilling things also, like when I manage to buy certain material stuff like my car or my watches, right, is when it's a process. Like, I managed to bring this client X amount of sales or this X amount of impact, and then in return I get paid this amount. And yes, after I buy all those stuff, right, then I sit down in the car or at home, or I think actually I look at it, it's like, okay, like it's just another material good.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you feel good, but what memories and things that I share, right, is the process of like, wow, what did I do to get this?
Yeah, same thing with actually competing. I remember when I was competing bodybuilding, right, for
Yeah.
like 10 shows and things like that. So I think this is a very common bodybuilding mindset or competitor mindset. So they always look forward for the competition day. They will say like, 8 weeks out or 6 weeks out,
Yes.
3 days out.
They constantly do every single day, checks out.
What are they trying to show is that their mind is always to that day. I want to wait until that day. And they don't really live in the present, because if you're going to look forward for that day so much, how can you live your life now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I realized that, because after I go through that day, the last day itself, when I stand on the stage, if I win or I don't win, the moment I step down, it's just another day to me. Yeah, there's no feeling anymore. And you feel a certain emptiness in your heart.
Sense of emptiness.
Yeah. And you'll be like, now what? Since I'm looking so much to this day, and then it happened, and you don't feel much of a joy, so now what?
Then the cycle just continues. One more year.
Yeah,
another
exactly.
Year.
So I say that if you're a competitor, or if you are even in the business, right, find yourself that enjoyment or fulfillment, right, that keeps you feeling so purposeful and keeps you going. I think a lot of business don't strive or don't grow much or don't survive long. It's because they don't have a true why. They halfway through they find a lot of difficulties or struggles, and then they realize that, oh, this is not worth it. I don't know why am I doing this. And then they shut it off.
Got it. Okay, so one final question would be basically more on like your business. What's the future plans for you? Like because I won't ask like 10 years, but what is the next 6 months to 1 year is going to be? Like, what are your future predictions and projections for your fitness business?
If you're talking about the next 1 year, I'm really looking to be grooming up my team even better, making sure every single one of them is growing as a person as well as in their career, and definitely expanding and partnering up a few more projects, probably 3 to 5 projects in the next 1 to 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so before we end, right, I have this thing where the previous guests will leave a question for you, for random question. So the previous guest wants to ask, but he don't really even know who are you. So the previous guest left a question saying, what is one thing that you hate to do or you dislike doing every single day, but you still do it?
This is hard because actually everything I'm currently doing, a lot of things I'm currently doing, I might not like it. But I came to a point where I accept it already.
Yeah. So it's more like stoicism in a way.
So is the question like initially I hate it?
Yeah, so basically the question is like, initially, like, okay, you could be, let's rephrase it, like, I don't like doing it as much, but I still do it. Often.
Waking up early?
Waking up early. Okay. Yeah, I think not every one of us are like very morning person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so probably, is there like, this is also another thing we do. For our next guest, I'll ask them a similar question. So could you just leave one question that you want to ask the next guest? That's a random question.
What is your purpose of doing what you're doing?
Okay, is your purpose of doing what you're doing? Great question. Okay, so I think we can just wrap it up. Thank you so much, Joash, for making the time, coming down and like sharing some very insightful topics. I think I learned quite a lot. I think the topics that we touched today, right, although business and also fitness, it really like motivate me even more to like to remind myself to be very consistent with working out, keeping fit, being healthy, and also spreading that similar vibe to everyone around me, my family, friends, and colleagues. And on the business side of things, right, what I learned would be really improving yourself first and knowing your purpose and all the other things after that, right, will come with it.
Yeah.
You see, like what we talked today, right, really very different from what I talked to some other people. We didn't really talk about how much sales you generated, how much profit, how much money and all that. We talked a lot about we touched topics on What's your purpose? What's your why? How do you improve your character's traits? How do you motivate teams? Because I think we both run a very similar business, but it's very people-oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, right, that is what really builds successful company.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a lot on the qualitative of things. And that qualitative things will spill over and really bring a positive impact on the quantity side.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap it up, thank you so much for listening. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask me or Joash, you can just drop it below in the comment section. It will be posted, I think, everywhere like Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And there have it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shaun.